The past 24 hours of political news and analysis have been breakneck. Developing late this afternoon, we're learning about a significant change for next year's election.
Incumbent Democrat Jared Golden wrote in an opinion piece for the Bangor Daily News he is done. He is not going to seek another term. That article was published just an hour ago at 3 o'clock this afternoon. News Center Maine political reporter Phil Hirschkorn has been working since the news broke about an hour ago to learn more about what this could all mean. Now joining us live. Hi, Phil.
Yeah, it's really a bombshell. That's not an understatement. This is a total surprise. Nobody saw this coming. In case you don't have a BDN subscription, it's a 1,400-word op-ed article where Golden explains in detail why he's choosing not to seek a fifth term. Golden has been sort of an enigma for Democrats around the country. While he represents his district well in terms of getting reelected over and over again, though by narrow margins, he's not really a typical national Democrat. He has one of the most bipartisan voting records. In fact, he votes against his party 20% of the time. For instance, he's the only House Democrat who voted to reopen the government during this current shutdown standoff that's going on. But on the other hand, he's voted against Donald Trump's signature budget and spending legislation this year, and he's been reliable on other key Democratic issues like reproductive rights. Obviously, he's been very involved in armed services issues, serving on the committees that are involved in the military. What I'd like to do is read you a couple of excerpts from this op-ed because Golden's not doing any interviews. We asked for one, but let me read you some of what he says. He says, "I don't fear losing. What has become apparent to me is that I now dread the prospect of winning. Simply put, what I could accomplish in this increasingly unproductive Congress pales in comparison to what I could do in that same time as a husband, a father, and a son." He and his wife Izzy have two young girls, 3.5 and 1.5. He goes on to say, "We, meaning the Democrats, we're allowing the most extreme pugilistic elements of our party to call the shots. Just look again at the shutdown. For as long as I can remember, we have opposed shutting down the government over policy disputes. We criticized Republicans for taking hostages this way. But this year, reeling from the losses of the last election, too many Democrats have given in to demands that we use the same no-holds-barred obstructionary tactics as the GOP." And one other excerpt I want to read to you is looking forward to this election without him. He says, "My sincere hope is that by creating an open seat, my departure makes space for a competitive primary for both Democrats and Republicans, as Paul LePage and Matt Dunlap are a far cry from being standard bearers of the generations that will inherit the legacy of today's Congress." So at 43 years old, Golden is stepping down, but calling for generational change, perhaps someone his age or younger to step forward and compete for the seat. LePage is 76. Matt Dunlap is older than Golden, younger than LePage, who recently announced a primary challenge. But as you just heard, Golden doesn't think either one is appropriate for the job. So to sum up, Golden says, "I never loved politics." If you've gotten to know him over the years, he always had really a love-hate relationship with going to Washington. He enjoyed representing his district, Lewiston. He's from Lewiston. His family, his parents are aging. They still live in the area. So as you often hear when politicians you think are coasting along, citing family reasons for stepping down, that's number one. But also I would say number two, close behind it, is the forces of polarization and how frustrating it is to work in Washington these days. At least that's how Jared Golden sees it.
Yeah, he made that very clear in those statements you just outlined there from his op-ed of where he stands in the middle of that frustration.
And one more thing, threats to his family, which I mentioned. He and his wife Izzy have these two young daughters. He's received death threats. He's received bomb threats at his house. He's had to evacuate and live in a hotel. And I don't think I'm breaking any confidence by telling you that he often carries a firearm for his own protection. Obviously, he's a Marine. He knows how to handle a gun. So lots of factors building in Jared Golden, but I think this news is completely a surprise for those of us that follow the politics in Maine.
Yes, and potential shakeup for a year from now. We'll keep an eye on all that.
Right.
All right, Phil Hirschkorn with
Okay.
the breaking news tonight. Phil, thanks so much.